this is Kathryn Jones, and welcome to the Kathryn Convo, where I answer your questions, take you behind the scenes, and basically take the liberty to talk about whatever I want. Which today is all about skydiving. If you guys follow me on Instagram or Facebook, you will see that this week I skydived. Skydivided. I got in a plane and I jumped out of it. That's what I did. And if you would have asked me at the beginning of last week if I ever was going to, in my lifetime, jump out of a plane, I would have said, heck no, I'm not gonna do that. You can die. But then here's what happened. Design Hacking Live is coming up March 27th, 28th. Tickets are, you'll get more information on October 4th. Anyway, making some really cool promotional material for it, and as part of the event, like one of the coolest things that we're going to be talking about at the event is how we as design hackers do things differently, especially in like not only the learning of a particular skill, but then how do we spread that out wide so we can automate what we're doing. And so the script that I wrote for this video called for some pretty, I mean, there was just like a lot of cool things we could do with the script. So working with my branding team, and my branding director suggests, he's like, Kathryn, I think that like if we like made this story around you doing some like really like different cool things, I think it could be awesome. So he suggests that I go skydiving. Now, I don't want to do it. He's like, I think you should go skydiving. And I'm like, I don't say yes, I don't say no. We're on the phone and I'm like, why do you think that? So then he like explains to me and I'm like, ugh. And it's like, I can see the artistic vision of what he wants to do, which almost makes it more frustrating, because then I'm like, oh gosh, like I really need to think about this. But I'm like, you can die, and I have way too many things to do to die. So this is what I did. First my analytical self went and I was like, I'm just gonna go run some numbers. And I ran some numbers and I learned that only 0.002 people die out of every 1,000 jumps. So I guess last year or something, like only 19 people died skydiving, and like 1.25 million people died in car accidents. And I know that I know that the number of people skydiving versus driving is different, but like the ratios, you compare them and you're like, okay, technically skydiving, not that big of a risk. So like I'm like running through the numbers, so then I tell my branding team, I'm like, okay, fine, I'll do it. So like they signed me up, and then I just kind of like, I just know it's at the end of the week, so I just like don't emotionally deal with it. I'm just like, great, it'll be fine. Anyway, so we're finally driving. It's Friday now, and we had made these plans on Monday. So it's Friday and we're finally driving to go skydiving, and it's like an hour and a half north of where we were in Utah. So we're like driving to this tiny town called Tooele. We're driving to Tooele, and I'm by myself now because I'm driving to Colorado immediately after this. So literally it's like, make a quick pit stop, go skydiving, drive home. So I'm driving to Tooele and I'm just by myself. And all of a sudden I realize that I've analytically dealt with it, with the numbers, but I have not like emotionally processed the fact that I'm going to jump out of a plane. Jump out of a plane from like 15,000 feet. Oh my gosh. So then, you start to get nervous and you're just like, you don't feel great. You don't feel great. So then, honestly, by like the grace of God, I remember that I watched one time this like motivational video from Will Smith about skydiving. So I'm like driving and I'm like, Siri, like go on YouTube, pull up Will Smith's skydiving video. Gratefully, it's a great video. It's like this like 3.5 minute video, and basically Will Smith like talks about his experience skydiving and how like what he learned about fear in his experience with skydiving. And essentially he like talks about it. He's like, so we like go up in this plane and it's like you all think it's fun and games till like the day of or the night before, and you can't sleep because you're like, I'm gonna jump out of a moving plane. And he's like, then you get there and you kind of hope that everybody gets there. It's like, oh, never mind, like we were just joking, and they're like, nobody was joking. So you're there and you get strapped up and you get on the plane, and it's crazy when you get on the plane, if anybody's done this, like you don't get in seatbelts. Like they have these little like benches on the side, and you don't even sit normal. You sit like saddle on the bench. And so I'm sitting here and I'm like strapped up on this guy. Well, no, I'm not even strapped yet. I'm just sitting, and while we're going up, he's like checking my back, like getting my back all hooked up to him so I'm on his front. I'm just like, oh my gosh. But like, I'm confused. Like in my mind, I'm like, I'm gonna have a helmet on and goggles and they're gonna give me like a suit. No, wherever I went, they just put a harness on me and we just like go up in the air. So I like turn around and my guy, I'm like, do I like need goggles or something? He's like, yeah, like we'll take care of you. So I'm like, okay. We're up in this thing, he hooks me up. Oh my gosh, so funny. Hooks me up, so I have like one guy that I'm hooked to and one guy who's assigned specifically to me to get footage. And anyway, so like I'm experiencing these things as Will's experiencing them. Anyway, it's hilarious. And so anyway, so Will talks about you get up in the plane and all of a sudden it's like they walk you to the edge and they are like, okay, like 1, 2, and he's like, they push you on 2 because people grab on 3. And the thing that Will said, he's like, and you're just like so terrified and you're like looking over the edge and like you're like imminent death, you know, and you're like, why am I doing this? What is this happening? And he goes, but the second that you jump, like all of a sudden the fear goes away and you have this blissful moment when you realize that you're flying. And he said it was just this fascinating thing, like all this fear and anxiety that it just went away. And he's like, and what's crazy is that I'm in even more danger than I was before, and I feel free. And he said the thing I learned about fear is that at the maximum point of danger is where the minimum fear is. And he said I truly believe that God designed that all great things in life come after overcoming a significant bout of fear. So I'm like driving up to this place. I'm like, yeah, let's go. Will can do it. I can do it. La, la, la. And so I just like made the decision. I was like, I'm going to choose to be excited about this. I am going to choose to conquer this. And I was like, I will not, it's whatever. I can jump out of the plane. It's not a thing. So I get there and like, again, like watch this instructional video that's like from the 80s and I'm like, it's not really instilling me with that much confidence, but like I've decided that this is gonna be fun. So we go, strap me up, again, they take me up in the thing, he's strapping me up on the back when I go, and I'm actually like chill, like I'm pretty cool, and he gives me goggles, which are like these like little like plastic things, and all of a sudden, and like the plane ride up is like actually kind of fun too. Not nervous at all. But then also I like look at my watch, I'm like, we've been like in this plane for a while now, and like the reality that I am jumping out of a moving plane, it kind of hits me like, oh, like the only way out of here is out of the plane. And so I like, you know when you like feel yourself get nervous and you're like shaking? Like, you guys know what I'm talking about? So I'm like, oh my gosh. So I'm like, no, I'm like literally like picturing Will and I'm like, it's just a mind game. I'm like, I can control my body. I am fine. So I just like feel myself shaking. I'm like, no. I'm like, I am going to do this and I'm going to face this. And I'm sitting next to this lady who like, she was all fun and games when we were on the ground. Her face like pale. She's like, nah, she was no fun anymore. I was like, oh, it's gonna be so fun. She was like, oh, it's gonna be amazing. You would get in the sky. She's like it's like, she's like deathly ill. And I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm like, this is all just on me. I'm just like, okay, so you know, I'm like practicing, I'm just like, okay, whatever, mind control, I have this, practicing my meditation things, I'm like, it's just a thing, it's just a fear, and I'm gonna confront the beast, and I'm gonna do it. So I'm just like, whew, just like breathing, and all of a sudden it's like, it's just time. And for whatever reason, like the second that I stood up, like the most scary part was waiting to stand up for me. Like once I stood up, I knew it was over. Like in my mind, the second I stood up in the plane, I jumped in the plane. So, which I was really grateful for. And so when I got to the edge of the plane, like I was actually like excited to jump because I had already jumped in my mind. Like I stood up and I was at the edge and I'm at the edge and so I've already gone. So literally he's like, you ready? And I'm like, yeah. And he's like, let's go. So I'm like, yeah. And it's just like, you jump off. And all of a sudden, it's like, it's so crazy because you're like standing at the edge of the plane. It's like you can't exactly process what's happening. And then you get off of the plane and my guy, for whatever reason, he flipped us. So like you'll see in like this footage, like all of a sudden I'm like, rah! And like you're just like flipping upside down. So it took until you free fall for 50 seconds, like 8,000 feet, 9,000 feet or something. And like, it's nuts. Like it's not scary, like your body for like I would say like 20 seconds of the 50 seconds, like my body could not figure out what was going on. Like I was just like, oh my gosh. And like it's like 120 miles an hour, you're falling down. So it's like I couldn't breathe. I literally like was like ugh. And so I was like, the only way I could breathe, I just like screamed the whole time, which I think made it more exciting. So I'm just like, let's go. And it was so fun. It was so fun. And then about like 20 seconds in, all of a sudden I'm like, wait, this is amazing. And then you're just flying. And it feels like a video game. Like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, it's like you forget that, like, that's the ground. And if you hit the ground, you're dead. Like, you just forget. And you're just flying. It was so fun. And my guy was like so fun. So we're like going all around. And then he's like checks his altitude meter and he's like, okay, like, here we go. And then like, the thing comes out, and all of a sudden you're just like whipped up because the parachute takes you up, and you don't realize, like, all of a sudden, like, the parachute takes you up, and it's like this added measure of safety. Like, oh my gosh, I have to show you guys these pictures. Are so funny. Like, I'm like having the time of my life, like, yeah, like when I'm actually like free falling, and then you watch me when the parachute's up, because the guy had like a GoPro taking pictures of me, and like I just look like so peaceful. Like, I just am like it's like I can't believe I made it. And then once you're parachuting, it's like, have you guys ever done parasailing before? It's just like, it's like this like really peaceful thing. And we just kind of like, you know, mosey around, take like a 10 minute, you know, little thing down. He's like, you want to hold the things? I'm like, yeah. And he's like, let's do some turns. I'm like, yeah, like, And it was amazing. We land perfectly and it was awesome. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. And anyway, for me, like, I just kept thinking of my friend Will, and I'm like, as in my friend Will Smith, who I've never met before, but Will, if you ever see this video, please like, subscribe, comment, and then let's hang out. But I just kept thinking about that experience where it was like, this is not, for me, it was not skydiving. Like, that was not the challenge. Like, the thing for me was, I have something that I'm afraid of that I'm going to conquer, and not only conquer, but conquer gracefully. Like, that was my mission, and I think it was fulfilled pretty well. And the reason why I say that, like, I think back, like, this whole time I was thinking back to, I watched recently on Netflix, there's a documentary about Mitt Romney when he was running for the presidency, and I wanted to watch it because when he ran for the presidency, I was on my mission for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and so, like, I was just kind of, like, out of the loop, because when it was an 18-month mission, and like when you're on a mission, you're just like not on your phone, you're on the internet, so you're just like, you know, being with Jesus, serving people. So I knew what was happening, but I like kind of missed a lot of what was happening. So I was like, oh, I want to watch this. And one of the things I was so impressed with him, like regardless of his political views or anything, like one of the things that I was most impressed with him was like he received so much criticism all the time, and he would just take it, and he was like, great, awesome, done, cool. Like, remembering his wife, his advisors, like, and people are just like battering him all the time, and it just like didn't even shake him. And I had this moment where I was like, wow, like to raise your hand and say, like, I believe that I'm qualified to take on the role of the President of the United States, the leader of the free world. I think you either need to be like totally out of your mind to think that you could do that, or like so aligned with who you are and like the morals that you stand on. And I remember watching that, just being like, I need to get myself to a point where regardless of what the Lord requires of me, regardless of the opportunities that come my way, regardless of the challenges that confront me, I can, not because I'm like a crazy person, but because I'm like so, I am so grounded in who I am and so in control of my mind and how I feel and how I operate, that I could raise my hand and say, we can do this. Anyway, so that skydiving was one of those experiences for me, and it was very fun. I was like, my mom was not, well, I think it's like, she's like, live your best life, but mostly live your best life without skydiving. I don't think she was necessarily happy that I went there. And so when I got, so right before, she's like, it's never too late to back out. And I was like, Mom, whatever. I was like, if I survive, let's totally go again together. And she just writes back, no, period. Anyway, Mom, care about you. If you're watching this, 1, thank you for being my biggest fan. 2, we should totally go again. Like, I got on the ground, I was like, I would totally do that again, simply because of it was so empowering to stand in an airplane with an open door and willingly jump. Like, it was this empowering thing to be like, I can make myself do hard things. And not only that, it was really, I mean, you're literally flying. I don't think I'd ever want to get my license to go by myself. I really think I liked it, that all my responsibility was getting out of the plane, and then I just got to like live my best life. But it was amazing. So if any of you go skydiving, let me know. This week is gonna be a super fun week. I'm kind of back in my normal routine, so pounding out a bunch of stuff, getting ready for the event, getting ready for a ton of cool stuff on social, getting ready for some other things coming up at the end of the year. But mostly, that is it for today's Kathryn Convo. Go skydiving or not, but if you do, tag me in your pictures. I'd love to see it. All right, have a great week. Talk to you guys later.